I am so frustrated with myself. This fall, I missed some of the major things that I do to get my coop ready for the winter so that my chickens are easily taken care of. I don't have to stress when there's a lot of snow on the ground or it's really cold. And I just missed the boat this year. So now that it's 2 degrees out and there's a foot of snow on the ground, why don't I walk you through what I wish I had done earlier to make this winter a lot less stressful for myself. I'm also going to share with you some of the things that I do that might be a little bit controversial, but I like doing these things for my chickens so that they can be the hardiest and best suited for the winter and get through to spring really well. One thing that I wish that I had started is giving my chickens suet sooner and more protein sources. When molting season happened, I was just really distracted. I had just gotten some new chickens from someone else, and they came in kind of looking like they went through the wood chipper. So I was trying to figure out what was going on with them. I had hoped that just getting out and being able to be free range chickens and really fulfilling their own diet by themselves would help. I just forgot to really heavily supplement them with protein. So now I'm just making sure that I'm not leaving them empty on anything. And the suet is a great way to do that. Chickens are omnivores, they're not vegetarians. And especially when they're not out getting bugs and worms and all that stuff, then I really want to make sure that they're getting enough protein in their diet from real sort of whole food sources instead of just the pellets that I give them. I got this suet just from our butcher. Ask your butcher if they have leftover suet or organs or anything like that, because usually they are overflowing with them. People only want to take the prime cuts of meat, and there's a whole lot of other animal there that it's just a shame that it's being wasted. It's great for them. It gives them vitamins and minerals and fat and calories and everything that they really need to get through the winter. I love the deep litter method. It just sort of helps create some heat while all of the manure and everything is decomposing. The chickens stay nice and dry in there. Everything is really nice. And this year, I just completely missed it. I think part of it is because I had some chickens that were new to me and they just looked awful. They were missing so many feathers and their skin was so raw. And I was a little bit worried that they had mites. So I didn't want to deep litter everything to just give a fantastic home for all of these mites. But in the process of avoiding deep bedding, I completely forgot that I love deep bedding in the winter. So now the chickens have been in their coop more often because it's been so cold. I don't have deep litter in there. I have been coming in and cleaning it, but my life does not allow for the cleaning every day method. I just can't do that. I cleaned it last week and look at it already. This to me is not acceptable. So I'm going to today clean it all out, add more bedding, and give them a much more cozy spot for the rest of winter because we have quite a few storms left ahead of us.
Hi, lady. You want to say hi, Daddy?
Now you may be wondering why I'm using a sled instead of a wheelbarrow. Well, I can't get a wheelbarrow to where I need to go. So a sled is it. Something else I'm really kicking myself about not doing is fixing my problem with my egg collection and my nesting box. One of my barn cats decided in the fall that stealing and eating all of my eggs was her new job in life. She was this little egg bandit. And I couldn't get her to stop. I completely forgot that that was an issue. So now that they're laying again, I do have light for them so that they kind of get kickstarted into laying again. They're getting plenty of protein now. but I'm still having a problem with the egg thief. So I got this rollout nesting box from Premier One, hoping that if the eggs would roll down into, this is a wooden egg, roll down into the pan down here, that my egg bandit would not be able to be stealing all of my eggs. But the chickens had a different plan. They have no interest, this is normally down, they have no interest in laying in it. They just like roosting on it and pooping on it. So that didn't work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the rollout part of it and try and refabricate the nesting boxes that they are using so that hopefully I can be collecting my eggs and bringing them into my house and keeping them safe from the barn cat. Her job is to be eating rodents, not my eggs. Well, this might not be the most Pinterest-worthy coop, but it works. And now they have nice clean bedding, deeper than it used to be, and hopefully the egg bandit cannot steal any more eggs, and the chickens are going to be just fine until warmer weather. All right, so now that my coop is a little bit more the way that I would have liked to have started the winter with, let's talk about a few other things that I do for my chickens in the winter or all year round. I do not use a heat lamp. I think they're dangerous. I think they are unnecessary. As you can probably see, my coop is not super insulated. It has quite a few little cracks and crevices that air can flow through, but they are well equipped to keep themselves warm as long as they're not having to deal with wet or wind. I also think that a heat lamp is dangerous not only because of the major fire risks, but I think that going from hot to cold is more of a shock and stressful to their system than just it being the temperature that it is. I know that they can handle the cold as long as they have shelter and food and water. So I don't want to sometimes have them be really hot and then all of a sudden them be really cold. I would rather them be able to regulate themselves either by going in the sun or getting out of the wind or whatever, instead of forcing them to be a temperature that I choose is most beneficial to them. Something else that I make sure that I never do is I don't put water in their coops. Now, I know some people really think that they need water all the time. Chickens can't see well in the dark. They sleep all night long. They're not drinking when they're in their coop. I don't want moisture on the floor. I don't want it evaporating and being more moist in the air. I want it to be a dry environment for them. I also want to have the hardiest animals on my property. And do not get me wrong, I am not heartless. I have had to teach myself so much how to not go overboard on helping all of my animals here. But if I have a chicken that can't survive a New Hampshire winter, I'm sorry, but they're just not going to work here. And if I am going to take the best care of all of these animals, they have to be hardy enough to withstand the New Hampshire weather that we get. And so I make sure that I get breeds that can do that. And that is how I'm being responsible for their well-being. I can't control the weather. I can't control everything, but I can choose hardy breeds and build better systems that keep me from getting overwhelmed. Thanks for coming. Till next time.